In just 15 minutes, this video is going to teach you more than most theologians spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and learn in 6 years. Basically, this is going to teach you exactly what most of the modern day prophets that you see on the internet today do not want you to know. They do not want you to learn how Scripture teaches everyone how to study on their own. We're going to go right into Revelation 1 because a lot of people are drawn to Revelation. Different parts of the Bible teach different lessons. We'll take a look at what Revelation 1 teaches. Now, between Revelation 1:12 and Revelation 1 verse 18, you see the description of Jesus. We're just going to go over this real briefly. We only have a couple of minutes. And I turned to see the voice that spoke with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. In the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the feet and girded about the waist with a golden girdle. Basically, we see he's talking a description of Jesus and the 7 candlesticks. Let's go to chapter 2. These things says he that holds the 7 stars in his right hand, who walks in the midst of the 7 candlesticks. Now I'm going to click here. I've already taken these and separated these apart. And as you can see, here's the description from Revelation 1:13 to Revelation 1:18. Here's Revelation chapter 2, verse 1, 7 stars, 7 candlesticks. We go back to chapter 1, verse 13, 7 candlesticks, verse 16, 7 stars. And you see this is true for every single one of the churches. That description in chapter 1 of Jesus is taken out and broken up into 7 churches over 2 chapters. That is a rule of Bible study that tells us if we take everything on one subject, bring it all together, we get a better view of what that subject is. In this case, this is the subject, is a description of Jesus. And if we look at the 7 churches, we see a couple more. We see each of those 7 churches tell us a little bit about what God sees. You can pick this up real quick because God gives you a little bit of key words right here. I know your works, I know your works, I know your works, I know your works, I know your works. So look at these verses, read them, go over them yourself, and you get a better view of what God sees. You go on to the next set of verses, what to do. Right after that, God tells the 7 churches, each of the 7 churches, what to do. You put those verses together like I did here. God gives you an excellent view of what we're supposed to do. And then he gives us another subject, a vision of heaven. Each of the churches is given a view of heaven. You put it together, you get a better view of heaven. It shows us how we're supposed to cooperate through God's Spirit, work together, and we're supposed to be building each other up, not tearing each other down. Like you see the churches teach us to tear each other down. Those modern day prophets teach us to tear each other down. Everybody's teaching us to tear each other down. God tells us, hey, here's the 7 churches. You bring the 7 churches together, and guess what? They show us a much better view on what we need to do. Now we're going to come back here to the Bible, and I'm going to switch over to another version here. We're going to go over to lesson 2, and after we finish, I'll explain these key words a little bit. Chapter 3 deals with continues dealing with the 7 churches. Now in Revelation 4, you see it starts out with, then as I looked, I saw a door opening in heaven, and the same voice I had heard before spoke to me like a trumpet blast. The voice said, come up here and I will show you what must happen after this. Now you're going to see these same key words. Let me tell you. Key words are words that the inspired author repeated to draw attention to them. You see here these words in purple. looked, saw, saw brilliant, glow, flashes, lightning, shiny, sparkling eyes. All of these have to do with vision. So you can see the introduction shows us, I looked, I saw, he shows me, and then we see another set of keywords here. Voice, heard, spoke, voice, said. These yellow words all tell us something is being said. It's communication. So you can see there's vision and there's communication. So if when you begin to highlight these keywords, which are the same, similar, and related, and you see sets of these keywords in one verse, you know that's the main theme of the verse. Right here, we've got the law of introduction and summation. The introduction to each chapter tells you the main theme of the chapter. The last couple of verses, they basically sum up the main theme. Whenever the living beings give glory and honor and thanks to the one sitting on the throne, the one who lives forever and ever, the one who lives forever. You see this term is repeated. It's bringing out the main theme. The 24 elders fall down and worship the one sitting on the throne, and they lay their crowns before their throne and say, "You are worthy, O God, to receive glory and honor, power, for you created all things, and they exist because you created what you pleased." You see, both of these are taking part in heaven. So basically this theme has to do with what is happening in heaven. Let me go on to another chapter. Now, notice these words in this grayish blue. Then, when, then. You notice there's a sequence here. This is lesson number 2. God teaches in a sequence. Something happens. I saw the scroll. Then I began to weep bitterly. Then I saw a lamb and looked up. Then I looked up again and I heard the voices. So something happens, then something else happens. There's this sequence. There's this timing. In some of the newer Bibles, you can pick this up real easy. They're dynamic translations. If you look it up, the word then, and we'll switch over to the King James Version, a lot of people, and, all of these are related. When something says and, it shows it is related. This verse is related to the previous verse. This verse is related to that verse. This verse is related to that verse. But a dynamic translation kind of breaks this up into timing. When the lamb broke, then another, when the lamb broke. You see how that, it tells us that God put all of these events in a specific order. So that's lesson number 2, is we want to pay attention to the specific order. Now I've got some notes here that I went through, and I have to click over to little notes here. Lesson number 1, take everything on a subject and put it together to get a complete view. We saw how the Bible teaches that. Lesson number 2, pay attention to timing in Scripture. We saw how Scripture is laid out in a specific order according to God's timing. Lesson number 3, look at Scripture to see where the message is from. Now, we'll go back right to the Bible. As I looked, the Lamb broke the first of the 7 seals in the scroll. Then I heard one of the 4 living beings saying with a loud voice like thunder, "Come." Okay, where is this happening? If we go back to the previous chapter, then I saw a scroll in the right hand of the one who was sitting on the throne. This message is from heaven. We go back to chapter 4. Then I looked up and saw a door opening in heaven. This vision is from heaven. So we see all of these visions happening from heaven. So when we know something's happening from heaven, we know that this message is happening from heaven, right? When the Lamb broke the 7th seal, there was a silence throughout heaven. He's getting this vision. All of this information is coming from heaven. So we see this repeated time and time again. That it tells us where this message is coming from. As a matter of fact, you can check this out yourself when you have the time. Every single chapter in Revelation begins in heaven, except for one. And this, chapter 13, is where all of these prophets teach from. Then I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, and it had 7. Okay, where is this from? Where's the sea at? Is the sea in heaven, or is it in earth? So chapter 13 is from the earth. Now let's take a look at something really interesting. We're going to take a look at YouTube. We're going to just search. I searched Revelation prophecy, and let's see where their visions are from. So this guy's got a picture of heaven. This guy's got a picture of the Pope. So obviously he's looking at the earth to get all of his information from. Is his information going to be correct? This guy's got 7 trumpets, but he talks about Isis in prophecy. So he's looking at the earth to get his information from. He's using the earth to interpret what he thinks his Revelation is saying. Here we got some more pictures of a church. So basically we think, the whore in Revelation. He's studying the world, and he's using the world to interpret Scripture. Prophets, and this guy's got a picture of, I don't know if that's a world leader or a preacher or whatever. Basically, this shows a destroyed city, the end of the world. So he's telling you, well, the world is going to interpret Scripture correctly. Basically, here's some picture of some warriors, Bible, prophecy, the 5th trumpet, Muhammad. So he's using Muhammad and Islam and the jihad to interpret Scripture. Is that right? Basically, this guy's using Nostradamus. It looks like a picture of Revelation and Bible symbolism, the Vatican light show. So he's using the Vatican to interpret Revelation. Is that going to get you the right answers? This guy, this is really symbolic. This guy's looking right at the world. So this is exactly what they do. They look at the world to interpret Revelation. And they're making a fortune out of it. This guy, the same thing. He's looking out into space, and this one is Bible prophecy, final 4 times, last day events. They want to. Everybody looks at the world, and this guy says, well, okay, Revelation's rapture, the prophecy code. He wants to make you believe that, and he unraveled some secret code in the Bible, and only he can interpret the Bible. ISIS in the Bible again. Video after video. All of these videos. Look at these hits. 132,000. You look at the top ones. 500,000 hits. And 743,000 views. Almost 2 million views. People are looking. They love the world. The Bible tells us people are going to love the world. They're going to go after the world for information. This proves it. We took a look at the Bible, and the Bible told us a few little simple things. And basically, I just want to run over some quick rules of context. Keywords are words that are the inspired author repeated. Keywords are the same, similar, and repeated words. The law of introduction and summation, we kind of skimmed over. Okay, they tell us the main theme in each chapter. And when a writer quotes Scripture, look it up and read the entire story or chapter. This will work great in any of Paul's books. It'll work great in throughout the Gospels. And anytime you see an inspired author quote Scripture, go back and look it up. We'll have other videos in the future that'll take a look at some of these lessons and some of the rules of context that God used to write his Bible. But like we just showed you in Revelation 1, how it was broken out in Revelation 2 and Revelation 3. And that'll be one lesson that you can go through and work on your own. And the more you practice it, the easier it's going to get for you to see these things within Scripture and start using them. If you have any questions, leave a note, and I'll make sure I get back and answer each and every single one of them.